2.3 million people entered the EU from non-EU countries in 2021, an increase of almost 18% compared with 2020, and 1.4 million people previously residing in one EU member state migrated to another member state. People move for various reasons, and while many individuals migrate out of choice, many others migrate out of necessity. When we talk in numbers, we often forget that these are actually real people that we are talking about, with real stories, real backgrounds. So, my question is, for today, how are these migrations affecting young people? It doesn't matter whether they moved for studies due to the political situations in their country or of origin, or in search for a more decent life. Migration leaves its consequences and asks for certain sacrifices. And this is why in this episode of YouthSquad, we are actually going to tackle this topic with a person that had a chance to experience this personally. What is the reality of someone who moved abroad on several occasions for a couple of different reasons, and what are the pros and cons of having such opportunities? I have an incredible chance to talk about this question, but also some others, with Viktoria. She's a 24-year-old that can really tell us about her life and the cultural challenges that she faced through it. Hello, Viktoria, how are you?
Hello, Maria. Thank you for the invitation. It's truly an honor, and I really hope that everyone who will listen to us will find something useful for themselves. And actually, I wanted to say, it's finally Friday, but for me it feels a bit like a Monday because I have a German exam tomorrow. So, yeah.
Good luck once more. I hope everything goes well. Yeah, it does. This Friday does have a bit of a Monday kind of vibe. It's really busy. So you told me when we talked about your life before, you told me that you were born in Ukraine, right? In Zaporozhye. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, correct. Zaporizhia.
Zaporizhye, uh-huh.
Yes, I was born there and raised, and it's called Zaporizhia, which is the sixth and biggest city in Ukraine, and it's located in the southeast Ukraine. I don't know if you're familiar. It's more closer to this Russian border.
Yeah. I mean, I looked it up and I kind of got informed about it, and I saw many news articles about it as well. So how was it growing up in this city before the war in Ukraine?
Zaporizhia is known for being an important industrial center, and this city is culturally diverse. There are a lot of foreign students studying, and the reason for that, I think, is the presence of medical universities, which are quite good. And the second reason, of course, is the financial aspect. Mm-hmm. It's way cheaper than in other countries. So,
and how was it for you? Like, how was growing up? Like, what was the society like?
Society? I don't know if you heard something. Okay, actually, I would like to start with the language situation because I was raised bilingually, and it's actually quite interesting because it was a simultaneous acquisition. I was raised speaking Russian and Ukrainian. Unfortunately, Russian is present there. And in my city, Russian is prevailed. And Russian is present in all spheres of life. And this is because of the language policy that was run by Russia back in the Soviet Union, and in order to destroy this language, because they wanted this Ukrainian language to dissolve in Russian, and eventually they wanted this language to disappear. And the ideology was so well thought out that it was fixed in the subconsciousness of Ukrainians for a long time. And before the war, most Ukrainians felt ashamed for speaking their native language. Previously, if a person had a choice of language, he more often chose Russian. And for me, this is not like a normal situation for a country where the official language is Ukrainian. So, yeah, something like that. And but now the situation is like changed. People are trying to learn to speak Ukrainian. So basically that's how the situation looked before the war.
So now they're trying to, like, Ukrainian people are trying to get back to their identity more in that language sense, right?
Yeah, and they are pretty, like, if I am to say radical, they're...
I mean, I understand. I understand because of the whole situation. It must be quite difficult to actually grasp the concept of everything that's happening, and especially with the feeling of oppression throughout the years. So you are not living in Ukraine right now. You're living in Germany currently.
Yes,
right?
That's true.
Before you moved, you were living in Poland, right?
Yeah, but due to COVID, our classes were online. So I decided to take this opportunity and I moved back to Ukraine to to earn work experience, so for my future. And I really got a really nice job by one big Ukrainian company. And I moved to Kiev. And I really loved this job. It had everything. It had creativity. I had working with great people, with English, with kids. So everything that I love, basically. And I was really enjoying this job. But then, war. And I had to flee. So, yeah, because before the war, all this time I had this problem. Even my friends used to say, Vika, you're always traveling. You have to settle somewhere. And I knew I have this problem. And for the first time in my life, I decided, okay, I have to be an adult. I have to settle somewhere. And I did. And I had to move again. So, yeah, but I was lucky to move because I didn't know if it was possible, because nobody know what to do.
So in Ukraine, right, because of the war.
Yeah, exactly, because of the war.
So this one time, like, you moved to Germany out of necessity. You basically fled the country due to the political and social situation with the war and everything. But before that, you moved to Poland for studies, basically, right?
Yes. That was my choice. I really wanted to move abroad. And as I mentioned before, my mom used to work as a lecturer at the university. So I was more or less familiar with the situation of higher education in Ukraine. So I knew that the quality of education is not that good and the whole system is corrupted. And okay, maybe that's harsh and straightforward to say, but I mean, it is what it is. And subsequently, the idea of studying abroad has never been far from my mind. And however, it was not that easy for Ukrainians. We are not in the EU, which makes it less accessible. There are many obstacles. For example, either it's very expensive or it is difficult to get a visa. I just knew that I wanted, but I didn't quite know how to make a dream into a reality. So, yeah, that was just a dream. And then there was a miracle. My mom got this Polish card, it's called. And this card, it's like a confirmation of Polish roots, that I have relatives in Poland. And with this card, you can study for free and get a scholarship. So, yeah, that was basically it.
Yeah, that was your way to actually go to Poland to study what you wanted for a long time.
Yeah, I was lucky because in Ukraine, actually, the situation with education, it looks not so good because according to Ukrainian standards, my mom's job was quite good. And even, she was earning, she quite good. Her job was
below average.
Yeah, and still it was really hard to afford a nice education in Ukraine. It's super expensive. The economic situation was also not that great. So that was my chance.
Understandable. So what was if it's even, possible to compare, what was the biggest difference between moving out of Ukraine for studies and moving because you had to? Because you mentioned that you were in two different periods of your time. For the first time, when you moved to Poland to study, you wanted actually to go there.
Yes.
But you also wanted to study abroad and stuff. And the second time, you actually wanted to settle in Ukraine, but you weren't allowed. So what was the biggest difference beside the fact that you didn't want?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I haven't thought about that. So it's going to be super spontaneous. I think it wouldn't be a problem if I moved to Germany like 5 years ago, because, I used to be more brave, more, more up to something. And now I think it's, I don't want to sound grumpy, but now I think it's all about the being adult and about the responsibilities. And now basically I had to start from the scratch, like language and the whole new system with the taxes is super difficult in here. But in Poland, I was super excited, but at the end, I didn't like the experience, how I felt in Poland. And so for me, it makes, I don't know, any difference. I know, because I didn't really like it in Poland. Yeah, how I felt. And for me, the mental well-being is the most important. How I feel in the society, how I feel in this environment, this is the most important thing for me. I don't know, I don't give I don't care about financial situation, but I have to be happy in the place where I'm currently in. And in Poland, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, I understand. And you mentioned you're not being happy in Poland because of the society. So what was that like? What didn't you feel comfortable with in Poland?
Yeah, I faced a huge discrimination because for being a Ukrainian. Because many people told me, okay, you have to go back to Ukraine. What are you doing here? And I was judged and discriminated by something what my ancestors did, which is, for me, is frustrating, because I think in our world there is so much violence and there are so many wars, and I think this is just stupid to make
hold you responsible for something that you didn't do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's already enough. World is full of violence, and I think we have to be a bit kinder. And so this was for me stupid, really stupid. And I was, at the beginning, I was super excited, motivated to learn a language, and I was trying to speak with the locals. And every time, you do mistakes, obviously, when you learn new language. And again, critics, and why you can't speak our language, go back to Ukraine. So, at some point you lose your motivation and everything. So I felt frustrated, and I believe it was the moment when I discovered Erasmus, and it was my solution, if I can say that.
To escape.
Yeah, exactly. I was finding a way to escape, and then Erasmus. Hello.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I really agree with you when you said that we are supposed to be kinder, and that there's a lot of wars and conflict happening in the world, and that it is important for us to understand that we can actually be the change that we want to see in the society, rather than just contributing to the general atmosphere of fear and discomfort and distrust and so on. So I'm really sorry that you had such an experience. But then Erasmus happened, and Erasmus connected you with the countries that and people and societies and cultures that you felt comfortable with, right?
Yes, exactly. And I'm infinitely grateful that Erasmus exists. And I think I'm the most ardent ambassador of Erasmus that has ever existed. And thanks to Erasmus, I'm the person I am today. It taught me values I still uphold today. And apart from all this, the most important thing is the people I met thanks to Erasmus. So yeah, I can talk about Erasmus forever because I think it's great. And I think the best one was in Croatia.
It traveled to Croatia.
Everything. Yeah, it had everything.
So for how long have you been in Croatia?
For 6 months, for 1 semester.
Nice.
Yeah, have you ever participated in Erasmus?
Yes, I participated in different youth exchanges, which last up to 10 days on average. But I've never been on a study exchange, a student exchange through Erasmus. I finished my studies a year ago, and I didn't have a chance. But I'm thinking about maybe doing my master's within the Erasmus network or something like that. But who knows? Maybe next year.
Oh, that it should be great.
No, I love Erasmus as well. This podcast is a little bit of a promotion. So this podcast is also exists because of the Erasmus Plus network, and I'm really grateful that we have a chance and an opportunity to talk about the things that we find important, such as your experience, such as active participation of the youth, gender equality, human rights. On a platform that young people find attractive and that actually listen to. So it's really important for me that for people to understand the importance of Erasmus and the opportunities that it offers. So cool that you had the chance to experience them in such a way. So how was Croatia? What is your field of studies? You didn't tell us.
Yeah, I study international relations, but it was more a narrow and specific one. It was more about Poland and Ukraine and their relationship and European Union as well. Something about that. Yeah.
So how did you decide to take that major? You mentioned that, it's very specific, but was it connected to your experience between Ukraine and Poland and then different experiences afterwards in Europe?
No, actually, I wanted to try journalism. I forgot the word. But, it was all unexpected that my mom got this card and I had to decide, and I didn't really know Polish by that time. So I had to find something, specific, and I found a really nice program, and it was in Ukrainian. The first two, I don't remember, 1 or 2 years it was in Ukrainian, and we were gradually learning Polish as well, so it will be, we would be gradually integrated. So I thought, okay, wow, it's great, I'm gonna try this one. And yeah, here I am, studying with this, at this faculty. It was,
and do you like
felt
it?
like home. And not so much. Not so much, but I met really nice people there, Ukrainians as well. And thanks to that faculty, I had the opportunity to participate in Erasmus, but Erasmus is love, so I can't be angry. I have no regrets. So yeah, I take this experience, and yeah.
Yeah, whatever happens to us, the most important part is what we learn out of it and what we gain in a sense of people and experiences and stuff like that. And from what I hear, I can conclude that you actually had a lot of fun with different people from different countries, different regions, and so on. So, yeah. I definitely isn't worth of a regret. So that's for sure.
Of course, no regrets at all. No regrets. That's the motto of my life.
Yeah. I think I'll borrow it from you. So how is life in Germany now? Tell us. What do you do now? Did you finish your studies or?
Yeah, I still have my master to finish because I postponed it because I couldn't focus, because of the war. And I'm gonna finish it hopefully next year. And now I attend German course, and as I said at the beginning of the podcast, I said I have tomorrow this exam, and I hope I'm gonna pass it.
I hope so too.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you. Fingers crossed.
And yeah, Germany. Actually, I have never ever thought that I'm gonna end up in Germany. Because for me, it was like I visited it once with my friend, and I thought, wow, it's super conservative. People are like in the museum. I don't know. It's like super serious. Yeah, exactly. So I thought, no, Germany, no, never.
And so you had like this prejudice about people. And did you make did it become true, or did you debunk that prejudice?
I was watching TikTok and I was laughing because there were many jokes how it's hard to make friends in Germany, and I was laughing, and now I don't because it's true. It's super hard. Now it's not funny for me. I mean, Germans are great, really, and they are in terms of helping Ukraine. Really, I feel comfortable here. They're helping a lot. People are really nice if you approach to them, but they are really appreciating their private space. They are really a bit strict, a bit distant. I don't know, maybe it's because before that I spent Erasmus in Spain and people are more open, more approachable there. Maybe because of that, but here I feel a bit lonely. I don't know. It's maybe because I live with my family, with the Ukrainian people, and it's kind of hard to approach locals. Maybe because of that, because it's a bit hard to integrate right now. But overall, it's okay, really. I'm really grateful to Germany for what I have right now. But yeah, I hope that once I learn German, it's going to be better.
Yeah, it probably will be easier to approach locals when you know the language and stuff. But I also assume that a lot of them speak English. So
yeah. That's true, but I don't know. I don't feel that connection. In Spain, it was like people are trying to start up the conversation outside, like at the street and at the supermarket. But here, no. It's really hard to approach people. Like if you don't know them, only through friends is friends. Only like that. It works like that here, and
it's that cultural background. I think it's similar in Serbia. People are really approachable and quite friendly and hospitable in that sense. I mean, it doesn't mean that German people are not, but I think that overall vibe of the country depends on the cultural background that those people have. So I hope you kind of manage your way in, and I hope you make some good, cool friends around you. You didn't mention in which city you are now.
I am right now in Augsburg. I don't know if you heard about this one. It's close, 1 hour of drive by car from Munich. So yeah, but actually I have the best experience with Balkan. This is the best experience.
This is the first.
Really, the best experience. Because I mean,
you traveled here, or
sorry, could you repeat?
When you traveled here, you had the best experience, like when you traveled to Croatia, or now in Germany you have a good experience with Balkan people?
Actually, I haven't met that many here. I know I hear them, but I haven't met them personally, so I can't really tell. But yeah, experience when I went to Croatia, for example. I even had to start the diary, to write up all the nice things that happened to me, so I won't forget them, because there are so many. Yeah, and I didn't want to forget it, so I had to to start, and I was writing, and I ended up having a whole diary written with those nice little stories. So this is the best souvenir I have from Croatia.
That is so cute, and that's an interesting way to create a souvenir for yourself. That's really cool. I think I'm gonna steal that idea from you. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So I wanted to ask you about the general topic of this podcast episode. So, what would you say was the best thing about moving abroad, for whatever reason, like when you moved to Poland or when you moved to Germany? What was the best thing about it? Or maybe more, not only one.
I think as a Ukrainian, I don't know if you're familiar with Soviet Union, we had a lot of rules, like this consciousness, and also we had a lot of prejudice. I don't know how to say it correctly to pronounce it, and like a lot of, and I think the best thing is that thanks to moving abroad, I finally got rid of them. And I think this is the most important thing, because, those prejudices, you live in the society and you can't really critically access the situation, because you are small, you are being raised in this society, and it actually prevents you from being open to people without judging them. So it was, for me, it was really great that at the beginning, of course, I had a lot of problems, because it's not that easy to get rid of them, of these stereotypes of other people, of other nations, of other countries. But it was a challenge, and it was a long way. But I am so grateful that I finally managed to do that. And I think this is one of the most important things that I got from all of that.
That's interesting. So you got out of your comfort zone and you broke out of some patterns that you experienced being formed when you were growing up in one country. That's really cool. I think definitely traveling in general allows you to meet the culture, get familiar with different people and stuff. And when you move, it kind of accelerates and amplifies that effect, because you get to actually live within the culture that you want to meet. So you definitely get free of those prejudices that you mentioned. So that's really cool. And what is one negative, or more than one negative thing that you experience when moving abroad?
Negative. I haven't thought about that.
If there are no negative sides, that's also cool. But I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because I'm usually, I'm optimistic person, and I am living by this rule, no regrets. So it's really hard for me to came up with one. So just a moment.
No worries. Do you maybe, for example, I always think about, I never moved in my life. I mean, I moved from my hometown to a bigger town, the bigger city in Serbia, but I've never moved to another country. So the things that I, for example, left in my home, they were always accessible to me. But I always wondered, when you have to leave the country for good, how do you know what to take with yourself? Because you can't take everything. Or can you? Maybe you can. I don't know.
I thought, I also was afraid of something like that. But when, war started, and I took things with me just for 3 days, because I thought 3 days and the war is gonna be over, we're gonna be back. So I took 3 things for 3 days. And yeah, so basically I was naked here in Germany. So I have to start like from scratch. And I thought I was always obsessed with my little things, because my room in Ukraine, it looks like rubbish because it has everything. It has everything that I gave sense to. This little piece of paper, I don't actually need it, but I gave it a huge sense to it because it was a ticket from the cinema. It means a lot to me, and I thought I'm gonna die without all those things. Really, I thought no, not possible. But then I realized no, actually, it's possible. The priorities have changed, and the most important that my family, me and my friends are safe. So yeah, I realized that this is not so important. You will find your way. There will be people who gonna help you, so you don't have to worry about that. Even I think it's all started with COVID times. I think people realize their priorities have changed. They are, we don't need shopping that much. We have to be healthy, and this is the most important thing. So I think, yeah, no, it's really hard for me to think about.
But this is a really interesting thing, because you mentioned, I mentioned something that in my mind maybe would have been negative or difficult in some way. But then you turned it out to be really positive, because you learned to let go. You learned how to prioritize things that need to be prioritized. And you realized that you need to let go in order to be happy. To let go of things that, okay, yes, maybe you will have them at one moment again. But at a certain moment, the most important thing is your safety and health, and the safety and health of the ones that you love. So you kind of learn to let go and to prioritize. And I think that's a positive thing. Those are 2 more positive things that happened during moving, right?
Yes, exactly. Now I see it from a different point of view, from a different perspective.
Me too. This is really interesting.
Yeah, but that's because I said something positive and you so positive and positive, which is great.
Yeah, well, I think we fit perfectly in that sense. But you are an optimistic person. I mean, I can see how you turn the frown upside down. You can always make a light of situation and actually see the silver lining. And I think it's really important to have that kind of attitude, especially in difficult times. To, as you mentioned, mental health is really important, and the mental well-being is crucial. It doesn't matter, where you are, in which country. It is important that you feel comfortable there, and that you feel comfortable with yourself and what you have around you. And I feel like you are able to make that surrounding for yourself.
Yeah, before it was easier. And of course, I don't want other people to think that, I'm all the time like that. I'm trying to be, but there are some, of course, moments, especially this war, and when you think, oof, yeah, not that great sometimes, but you basically can't change anything. And I just don't want other people to think that you're supposed to be happy all the time. So it's really okay to be off sometimes, and it's really important to take your time. So yeah, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, but feeling comfortable is also sometimes crying if you feel like that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we agreed on this, and I'm glad that we had this conversation. It's already been like half an hour of us talking, and it flew by. I didn't even realize it was half an hour of us talking. What would you want to say as a message to our listeners? What would you want to send them? No pressure.
Yeah, okay. Always was afraid of such questions, but I think we already mentioned that no matter what, I think it's important to be kind and to preserve this light inside within you, no matter what situation is and what difficulties you're facing and what discrimination maybe you're facing. It's really important to be aware that there is so much. This world is already difficult, and sometimes we are making it more difficult by I don't know where I'm going with all this. Is just random thoughts, but I think it's just important to not to lose this light within ourselves, because sometimes under the pressure of other people, of other life situations, we can I don't know how to say it. We can not like break, but I don't know.
Fall apart.
Philosophical, fall apart. So I just want to remind that it's all fine to feel this way. And I don't know. Maybe you want to say something.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, if there was anything to be agreed with, to be honest, I just really feel touched by your positive attitude towards the whole situation. I mean, not even like, as you mentioned, like not generally just forcing the positivity, but just letting yourself feel what you feel at the moment. And that's really important, to just allow, to give space to yourself and to your feelings to just feel whatever you feel at the moment, and not trying to suffocate it. And that light that you mentioned within ourselves, if we carried our lights during, our lives and in the world, I think the world would be a better place, that's for sure. Because we would take care of ourselves first, and then we would, not judge others that much as we maybe do at certain moments, especially when, we are discriminating and when we are, led by the prejudice or something like that. So that is really important. And I completely feel and relate with what you just said. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for your words. And you see, feel a full connection.
Yeah,
you said
definitely
just what I was feeling. And thank you so much for this experience. And I'm really happy for this to happen. And I really happy for, this previous exchange that I managed to meet you. And it felt like home, really. I was super nervous today. And
before the recording
was... Yeah, the tension was the only thing that was holding me together,
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like home, this conversation, and thank you so much. Really, I really enjoyed.
So cute, Vicky. Thank you so much for these kind words. It means a lot, and I'm glad that you felt comfortable with talking to me and talking to our audience as well. I enjoyed it immensely. It also felt like home to me, and I am really inspired by what you shared and by what you experienced, and I hope you keep your light and never lose it, because it's beautiful.
Thank you so much, really.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you for being my guest, and thank you for being here. And this was another episode of YouthSquad, and I hope you stay with us. Thank you for listening to YouthSquad. My name is Maria. The YouthSquad podcast series is recorded under a small-scale project in the field of youth called Voicehood of Youth, which will cover 4 topics: human rights, gender equality, European multiculturalism, inclusion and diversity, and active participation. The project is implemented within the Erasmus Plus program and is financed by the Swedish National Agency. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you stay tuned for another episode.